Welcome back. The mid-cap index is in the red. The Nifty is almost getting there, and that's the point I was making. The first rally is vulnerable on days like today because the candle of previous day is so big that you want to take money home. Now you want to see if yesterday's low around the 200-day moving average is holding or not in this decline. So let's ask Mitesh what he's made of the first hour. Mitesh, so the first rally is getting a bit sold into, especially on the Nifty. Your thoughts now on whether this is an area to buy once again or sell rather, and what would be your stock calls?
So no, I think that approach can continue. Yesterday we had a high of 17,196. Today we got a high of 17,176. So I think around 17,200, 17,250 is the gap area. I think closer to 17,200, sell and then try to cover it around the 17,000 mark. I will now add fresh shots below 200 average or on a bounce back. I'm still not in the mood to buy. So I'm not very convinced about the fact that we'll see a reversal from this 200 average level. But my belief is that either we'll break it or maybe after a couple of days of bounce backs and heading towards 70, 200, 250 zone. From there, we'll have a fresh decline, which will see us trade below the 200 average. So in the short term, the outlook is negative. Right now, I have one buy and one sell call. HUL is still on the buying side. It's breaking out. That's a buy with a stop below 26.75 for targets of 27.60. While on the sell side is JSW Steel. Keep a stop at about 6.55. Look for targets of 6.10.
Mitesh, thanks a lot for those calls. Lever is a buy, JSW Steel is a sell. Talking about steel, let's shift focus to commodity markets. Then Manisha is joining in. Manisha, good morning. What are you tracking?
Anuj, I'm looking at the metal prices because we are looking at a mixed to slightly weaker trend even now for many of these metal prices. So when you look at the US dollars, which is trading at a 20-year high, there is pressure that has continued for many of these metal prices there. But as mentioned, like equity, like currencies, there is a bit of a stability that we are seeing in metal space as well. But the hawkish central banks and the latest statement coming in from the European Central Bank saying that they will continue to hike interest rates is weighing onto the markets. And this is to lower inflation at the cause that the global markets could be going into recession. I mean, that's a fear that we are working with right now. A statement from OECD last night suggesting that the global growth will slow down more than the earlier forecast also seems to be weighing on. So when you look at the metal prices, well, zinc and lead fell nearly 3% overnight. You are looking at some opportunity buying after that very sharp declines. Copper prices as well continue to trade near 2-month lows. We've seen the international copper prices just about hold $7,200 there. When you look at the LME copper inventories, they have gained up by 25% in the last 15 days itself. And that tells you that the on-ground demand seems to be suffering as well. So when you look at aluminum prices, we are trading at an 18-month lows on this. It was between, pardon me, it was between Jan to March that we saw aluminum prices rally by nearly 40%. But from its all-time highs, we are down by nearly 46% as we speak right now. While the Chinese aluminum production is near record highs, but the demand is suffering. And the Europe, even as 50% of capacity is not on, the demand there as well is on the weaker side. This tells you that the spot market demand also is weak as the aluminum prices are 25% lower than the June quarter average price as well. So there are declines there. But there are various factors which seem to be supporting markets as well. One is the Chinese stimulus, where they have invested 1.8 trillion yuan in infra projects. The second thing to watch is the Chinese holidays itself from 1st to 7th of October. So some physical demand seems to be coming back into the market. And the third important point really is about the inventories that you are looking at in the global markets. So when you look at the total LME, CME, Shanghai inventories, overall metals are just about at 2 lakh tons, which is lowest in decades. And that is something that you could be looking at supporting metal prices going forward. Various investors, banks suggest that when you start buying into metals, copper perhaps is the first one that will see a rebound with the kind of supply deficit that we are looking at into this one. But this is what we've done in the last 1 week in sense of metals. It has been all in the negative, anywhere between 5 to 10%, as you can see, and markets do believe that it is still sell on upticks in case of metals. For longer term, copper is something that almost everybody seems to be still betting on.
All right, Manisha, thanks very much for that. Commodities under pressure, they've been for a while. But markets are also now almost coming back into the flat, absolute terms also flat zone. It's just 14 points left now. I think we're at the day's low. 17,032 is where we're at with an hour and a half of trade behind us nearly. Mahindra Logistics is buzzing in trade, although that has also come off quite a bit from the day's high. Mangalam is here to tell us what's happening there. Mangalam, hi.
Well, that's correct. So there has been a positive development in Mahindra Logistics. The stock sitting with a gain of almost 3%, mildly off highs with the market. But remember, they've gone ahead and made an acquisition Rivigo's B2B business is what they've bought for about 225 crores. Remember, Rivigo is the company that pioneered the relay logistics service. They had two arms, that was full truckload logistics as well as B2B, and in that Mahindra has gone ahead and bought the B2B vertical. The B2B business in FY22 did revenues of around 371 crores. Of course, much higher than what we saw in FY21, but lower than what we saw in FY20. FY20 was an exceptional year for online commerce as well because of the pandemic. But importantly, Mahindra Logistics' own revenues in last year were over 4,000 crores, and in the first quarter itself was around 1,200 odd crores. So this incrementally adds about no more than 8 to 9% to their overall revenue. The bigger trigger, however, here will be the kind of leveraging that these guys can do with Rivigo's network of 250 plus processing centers, 1,000,15 square feet of land, or the warehousing area that Rivigo has. So even if they go ahead and do about 6 to 7% margins on this 371 crore revenue that Rivigo has done, it would be accretive for their return on cash, because it would mean about 10% on the 225 crores that they are deploying. The question, however, is how much can they scale up this business with their existing ecosystem.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. So that's on Mahindra Logistics. We're also watching out for Maruti this morning. Now, it's very interesting. The Grand Vitara has seen 57,000 units in terms of bookings. So that's pretty good. But the pricing is slightly higher than the Toyota Hyryder, which is the next competitor that has recently launched. So the pricing is, it can go all the way up to almost 20 lakhs for the high-end model, and it's 50,000 more than the Toyota Hyryder. There is a bull and a bear case in the market. So first, telling you the bull case, Morgan Stanley has an overweight. They have a target price of 9,839. They say that the order book is very strong and Maruti will definitely gain market share in the SUV space, something it's been trying to do for a while. Nomura as well has a target price of 8,970. They expect a 25% volume growth in FY23, and they say that the market share will improve to 43 to 44% in FY23. But now to the bear case scenario, we have two calls coming in from CLSA and Kotak. Both have sell calls. CLSA has a target price of 7,374. They say that the pricing is not that great. It's higher than the Toyota Hyryder, and there's so much competition in the mid-size SUV space that it will not be able to gain significant market share in this segment. Kotak retains a sell. They have a fair value of 8,150. Same rationale there. They say it'll be hard for Maruti to make inroads into the mid-size SUV segment, where there's the Creta, the Seltos, you have the Hyryder now, the Skoda Kushaq as well. And the pricing of the Grand Vitara is not so enticing. Well, that's a bull versus bear situation on Maruti. But Nazara Tech and HCC are also reacting to news updates. Vahishta is here to tell us about that. Vahishta.
Hi, thanks for that, Sonia. Well, for Nazara Tech, actually, the Tamil Nadu cabinet has approved the ordinance to ban online gambling, which means that the reason behind doing this, the Tamil Nadu government is saying that the teenagers and adults were losing their entire savings and earnings in these online betting games. Also, they say that though Rummy might be a game of skill, the game is using stakes will become gambling. So we also know that Nazara Tech and many other players are looking at expanding their presence in the online gaming space, which at present is, of course, at a very nascent stage in India, but though is growing. We also know that India's online gaming industry has been under the scanner since very long and undergoes frequent changes in the regulations and taxes, maybe in the form of, say, some GST changes. Now, many of these bans were actually challenged by the skill gaming startups, and the industry associations in their respective state courts had overturned these suspensions. So the Supreme Court has also upheld fantasy sports as a game of skill, which was in last year, in July 2021. And states like Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka have sought to prohibit the game of skills. The next stock is Hindustan Construction Company, wherein the company has completed its debt resolution plan, which would reduce the debt on the company's books to approximately 3,500 crores, which will mean a saving of 400 crores annually in their interest payments.
All right, Vaishya, thank you very much for that. So Nazara and HCC, they're in focus. 17 points on the Nifty is all that is left, so not very much gap between where we are at yesterday's close, 17,035 on the Nifty. It's time for a quick commercial break. On the other side, we will connect with Prashant Kumar, Managing Director and CEO at Yes Bank, as their board has approved the transfer of